I'm excited about this next question. We are going to Kim
Brady.
Kim,
What's
you're
up,
up.
So everyone needs to get this book. Everyone needs to get this book. When this book came out, I bought it, I think, the same week, and like added Paul to my page and was like chasing you down. Like, this is so awesome. And part of it, for those of you who don't know, Joe is a badass who got to compete at a level that I never did. So I'm on your shoulders, sister, not the other way around. You are literally out there. My question to you, because of our love of the game at such a core level, like internally, intrinsically, the love of this little round ball, right? What are your questions in the game itself now, with the problems that we have with the pay to play system and the chasing of scholarships instead of chasing the love of the game, in combination with facing the abuses of the coaching programs that we have at every level? And part of the reason why I stopped coaching, my kids, because I just got so burned out as a female coach. 15 years, national licenses, I'm done. I just need to do it differently. What are your questions about how you instill the love of the game in this type of system that we are currently in for our kids?
Yeah. Kim, we're standing on one another's shoulders. So that's awesome. We're both higher because of each other. Mm-hmm. And I'm so glad you brought this up, because this is another version of climate change for me. Mm-hmm. Youth sports is going in a direction that is really troubling. Mm-hmm. And it's troubling because of the reasons that you so eloquently brought up. We are now leading with the end goal in mind. We are now having kids play because we want you to win the trophy, the scholarship, the medal. And they're offered so very often, right? When it comes to the trophies, you get 6 years old and the medals. And I think we are losing the intrinsic motivation that was so deeply inside us in our generation, Kim. Mm-hmm. And with entitlement, which I would use a word, and I use that softly, right? That the generation now has a sense of entitlement because of how hard women have fought. Mm-hmm. So when I think of athletes now, let's say in the college arena, I was, helping George Mason as their mental performance coach. You see a generation of athletes that are saying now, I will only show up if you give me a reason why.
Right.
I felt like our generation, Kim, we are showing up no matter what, unless you give us a reason not to, right? It was like, yeah, I am, unless you abuse me. And then I still may show up, by the way, mm-hmm. because I don't know any better. And this has just been really part and parcel with the league. So now you have a generation that has this sense of entitlement and has this sense of, I have to have a reason, extrinsic reason to show up. And that's dangerous, because now we have a generation of athletes who almost are walking the path because they're seeing something at the end. Mm-hmm. And the only way to get through that fear, right? The only way to get through that adversity is to have this deep sense of identity and motivation that lies within yourself. I want to do this because I want to get better. I want to develop. I love seeing myself grow and be a better version of myself for my own personal reasons, right? And now we're doing it for the trophy, the medal, the coach, the parent, because of pressures that are being dumped on these kids. Mm-hmm. So how do we return the game back to the kids? Like that's a question that I'm trying to answer every single day. I think it starts with the parent. Mm-hmm. Like, back the F up.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yes. Sit on the sideline and be quiet.
Back up. Shut up. Right. Stop being snowplow parents that are already plowing away your kids' adversity before they face it, because you're doing them a disservice.
Well, I mean, I think about Foudy. Her daughter plays on the Blues right here, right in town. And I grew up chasing Foudy on the field.
Yeah.
Like wanted to be like her when she's a year older than me. And I remember just chasing the ball. And one day walking up to her, I was 13. And I said, one day I want to play like you.
Yeah.
Right. She's a year older than me. And these kids now, it's the parents that literally are telling the kids that you're great, you're wonderful, you're fantastic. Yeah. Foudy watches her daughter and shuts up on the sidelines. She's one of the best to ever play the game and never interferes with the coaching. Right. That her daughter gets to shine in her own way. And Ian does his own thing. Ian was my coach.
Yeah.
So it's wonderful to hear you say how much it has to come from the kid internally. And I think it does stem from the generation of parents our age who are doing exactly what you said you didn't want to do with your own daughter, which is see themselves in their child. And I think that's the piece of wanting to see themselves in that kid, or they're living vicariously through their child because they didn't make it, or they didn't get the scholarship, or they don't have the money to save for college, or whatever variation. There's this intensity to pay to play, thinking that pay to play is going to give that kid that opportunity instead of the child giving the opportunity to him or herself.
100%. And this isn't easy, right? Parenting is extremely difficult, and we have pressures. We have a barrage of pressures from all sides. And I think that parents have to lead with values. Why are your kids playing sports? What is the long game? Mm-hmm. The long game should be, I want to build a self-actualized human being who can walk with confidence at the age of 25. And what we're hearing now is you got to sports specialize. You have to drive your kid, right? From the age of 6 years old to play one sport and one sport only. And we can't have them face adversity, right? We have to help them every single step of the way, right? We don't want them to ever suffer and to fail. And that is a good life is built in the exact things that make it hard.
Yeah.
A good life is built from the exact things that make it hard. And parents now are not allowing their child to experience that pain and that suffering. And we immediately, because it hurts us, we want to take it away from them. And I get it. And it's a difficult thing to do. Mm-hmm. We have to have values as parents that drive our decision-making. And if my value as a parent is to allow the lessons of sport to teach my child for the long run, then I don't care about that medal tomorrow. Mm-hmm. I don't care about that win on a Sunday. I mean, come on, like who cares, right? I care about how are they showing up at practice? How is their coach speaking to them? Because how your coach speaks to you becomes your inner voice. And if that coach is speaking to them in a way that is breaking down their self-confidence, that's making them doubt themselves, then no, I'm sorry. Like, I want you doing 1,000 things, Luna. I want you doing arts and crafts and sports, and I want you expanding your identity and exploring who you are. And we're just not giving our kids the opportunity to do that anymore. And they are the ones who are suffering through it.